a challenge to speak after somebody, a stalwart like Nikhil, because he firstly, obviously, has said most of the things that needed to be said about higher education. Secondly, he's one of the few people that I find I always agree with. So, but I did have one little point of disagreement with him. And I'm going to start this conversation from that point of disagreement. He said, why do we need engineering education? And for somebody who comes from a business and management background, as I do, and especially at this point of time when we've just had an election and the electorate has clearly had their say, I would not discount the say of the market. The market is telling you, we want this training that our engineering education is providing us. We want something that this engineering training is providing us that other higher education does not. That is why there is a premium on engineering education. The question that we need to ask ourselves at this point of time as we introspect on the industry is it the content of the engineering training that is so attractive to people that you have so many applicants, so many thousands of applicants per seat? Or is it the process of teaching, the pedagogies that they adopt? Or is it the rigor that you have to that you're accountable to within engineering education? What is it that is working? Yes, there is a case for doom and gloom. There is a case for introspection. We have myriad gaps, as very well articulated. But there is something going right in engineering and management education. Until we understand what's going right over there, we may not be able to build on the future. As management professionals, we're always told, work to your strengths, build on your strengths. I would actually, at this point of time, call for a better understanding of the strengths within what has succeeded in education. When you take a look at the wider picture over here, of course the story is one of gaps. And gaps that are identified very clearly in this very pithy question, are we employable? I want to go back to the big number, the demographics. What we clearly know in India is that we have started our big demographic boom. For the next 20 years, we are going to have far more than we have the capacity to either train and, more importantly, to employ. For us in India, sitting here in India, one question that is being asked philosophically all over the world, what is the purpose of education? Is it higher order thinking? Is it about creating for the future? For us in India, the demographics have already answered the question. For the next 20 years, we have to focus on employability. Whether I personally like that answer or not, irrelevant. For the next 20 years, we have people who need to be trained for employability, but not just in the nation. And this is where I want to expand the question from where it was a few minutes ago. And I want to present this idea that we as Indians will need to export our unemployment to the rest of the world, which means we are not only training people for Indian businesses, for Indian entrepreneurship, for Indian ideas, but we are also training people for the rest of the world. So when we move over to the panel, as we will in about a minute, I would like everybody in the panel to also speak to this global question of when we talk about employability, when we talk about capacity constraints, when we talk about quality. And those really are the three issues for us in India, are they not? One, capacity. We just do not have enough. Two, quality. If whatever we are doing, are we doing it well enough? Are we doing it well enough to be able to step up to the world and say, let us talk at the same table? And the third question is equity. Is there enough access to all the talent in the nation that wants to train itself and grow up into this brand new world of economic growth? Are we giving them a fair chance? These three issues definitely need to be parsed in different ways. And before I hand over to the panel, I'm going to just take moderator's privilege for a minute and present another part of the solution that I was hoping to hear in Nikhil's speech. And I think maybe in looking at the sheer scale of the problem, the massive scale of the problem, we forget that we are a nation of individuals. So maybe we need to parse the solution and slice it slightly finer. Yes, we need those grand institutions, no doubt about it. But the grand institutions need to serve every individual. So the solution has to be parsed around creating pathways and opportunities for every individual throughout their life. I may be a person who has only 6 months of free time available, after which I have other responsibilities or I have a job. I should be able to use these 6 months to pick up certain skills, to pick up certain accreditation, employ myself for 2 years, earn enough money, pick up another accreditation later on. It's a process of lifelong improvement, lifelong learning, a continuous process that I think we need to set in motion in this country.